Hello stitchmakers, welcome to the Stitchmakers studio. I'm Anthea and today is Friday Sews. I have been meaning to take part in Friday Sews for at least the last 4 weeks or so, but I keep putting it off. Mostly because my sewing room is an absolute mess. You can't see it in the shot, but that's only because I've very cleverly framed it to the good bits. If you looked over this direction, it's a bomb site, so don't look. I really like the concept of Friday Sews. Jen from in Jen's sewing room started it, and she describes it as just a time to chat, a little bit of sewing and a little bit of life, and I quite like that idea. So today there are a whole bunch of people who are doing Friday Sews who have decided to have a little get to know you session under the hashtag Get to Know Friday Sews. And there were a few questions posed on the Sewing Vloggers Facebook group, and I thought I'd have a quick run through that and then I'd discuss what I've got planned for the coming week. So, pardon my phone, the questions are on there. So, what's your name? My name is Anthea Goodman. Where are you from? So, I'm originally from South Africa, but I have lived in the UK for 23 years now. And I currently live in Scotland near Glasgow, and I have lived here for 12 years. How long have you been sewing? So I think I started sewing when I was about 8. My grandmother sat me down with a bunch of scrap fabric in front of her Singer treadle sewing machine and told me to make clothes for my Barbies. I didn't have any Barbies, but that was her way of keeping me busy while she was babysitting. Number 4, what are your machines? So I have, this is my trusty steed. It is a Brother industrial sewing machine. It only does straight stitch. There's no zigzags or any other fancy stitches. But it can go through millions of layers and it does it super fast. So I think the stats are for most domestic machines, I think you're talking about 600 stitches a minute. I might be wrong about that. And this Brother does about 1200 if I remember correctly. So, you know, it's quite fast. When I want to do zigzags and buttonholes and fancy stitches, I have a Janome, an old one. Well, I say old. I bought it in 2000 when I was trying to make my wedding dress and my previous machine broke. I have a Janome overlocker, and I have as a backup machine my daughter's Singer traditional. But that was bought for her to learn to sew on, and I only use it when, you know, if something's gone disastrously wrong with my Janomes. Number 5, self-taught or formal classes. So a bit of both. My gran and my mother started me off and gave me some basic lessons. Then I spent a long period of just like messing about and learning how to do things myself. And, you know, like just trying to follow pattern instructions as best as I could. And then, when I was 39, yeah, I went and did an HND in theatre costume interpretation. So I basically learnt how to make theatre costumes, which varies, obviously, depending on what's going on in the theatre, but I can make, like, full ball gowns and historical dress and all sorts. So that was a huge step up for me, because we learned pattern drafting and some really complicated construction techniques and stuff. So yeah, that really jumped my sewing on quite a bit. So yeah, bit of both really. Knits or wovens? I will have to say wovens, because that is the majority of what I've worked with. Knits, I think I've done the odd bit of thing with knits, but I'm not confident in them. It was the reason I got my overlocker, was because I wanted to work with knits, but then I didn't touch my overlocker for like 15 years. I'm over the fear now, so I'm fine. But yeah, still wovens are still my preferred fabric. Number 7, Big 4 or indie. I used to be a Big 4 fan. Well, no, I think it was more that you couldn't get hold of anything other than the Big 4. I have, in the last few years, discovered indie. And the type of clothing I'm migrating my wardrobe to, which is log and look clothing, you can only get in indie. There are maybe a couple of patterns that could be tweaked for log and look in the Big 4, but you have to look really hard to find them. So yeah, indie all the way. Number 8, online shopping or in-store. I prefer in-store, but with COVID at the moment, shops being closed, I have gotten to actually enjoy online shopping. So especially from companies that you can order a sample from. There's a few that will do like a little mini piece for like 10p or 50p or whatever. So you can have a look at the fabric first. I do prefer to look at the fabric first. However, I also know the temptation of just wanting to get started, so just buying like from a picture. Yeah. Number 9, your favourite sewing task. Pressing, cutting, types of stitching, etc. I don't know if I have a favourite. I think probably just, I like it when I can finally see the finished product. But I wouldn't say that any of the tasks are particularly my favourite. Number 10, your best advice to other sewers. I would say push yourself. You're not going to learn anything from sitting in a comfort zone. You're not going to increase your skills or increase your confidence from sitting, well, possibly your confidence, but from sitting in a comfort zone, you're not going to move forwards. So if you're wanting to become a better sewer, then your best bet is to push yourself. But you have to give yourself the leeway to fail. Those two things. You can't push yourself and stretch your skills if you're not going to go, if you're going to beat yourself up about every failure. If you can push yourself and try like to extend your skills, sew something that is outside of your comfort zone that you think is maybe a little too advanced for you, if it comes off, great. If it doesn't, don't beat yourself up. Pick up, get another bit of fabric and do it again. And for this reason, toiles are an excellent idea. If you can make the pattern first out of a piece of old sheeting or some calico or something that's cheap, then by the time you actually come to doing it in your proper fashion fabric, then you've got the skills nailed down and you know that it's going to fit and it's going to work. So yeah. Right, bonus question, how did you find out about Friday Sews? So I think the first person who I heard of it from was Ginny at the Big Sew Along. She mentioned Stephanie Farrell from Stephanie Farrell Focus, so I followed that link. And of course then Stephanie Farrell mentioned Jen from Jen in the sewing room, in Jen's sewing room. So yes, and then of course everybody that I followed mentioned the hashtags. So if you type up hashtag Friday Sews in the search bar, everything comes up and you can filter it by like when it was posted, or by a particular YouTuber or anything like that. Right, those were the questions. So this past week, in terms of sewing, I haven't done anything. In fact, I would say I haven't done any proper sewing for a while now. I think my sojo just disappeared. I'm trying to force it to come back. I think sometimes we just wait for it to come back and it doesn't happen, and then sometimes we just have to actually get ourselves started and sew. And then at some point halfway through the project you go, oh yeah, I remember this is why I enjoy sewing. Yeah, I think I'll finish this and make another thing, and suddenly you're back on the roll. So, I think, yeah, I haven't sewn in a while. But the last 4 weeks, I made a huge mistake. I decided to go through all my storage and destash. I realised there was a whole bunch of fabric that I'd kept bits, reasonable bits, from old sewing projects, or fabric that I had been gifted by other people who were destashing. And I looked at this and I just thought, there is a lot of fabric in my storage that I am never going to use, that I never chose, while I received them graciously and I was very thankful for being given them, I had no particular projects in mind, and I couldn't think of anything I wanted to make with them. Some of the fabrics were really not what I would have chosen myself. Some of them were beautiful, but they were polyester. I realised, being a larger person, polyester doesn't work. You just sweat and it gets all sticky and no. So I had a massive clear out, and unfortunately part of having a massive clear out is taking out every piece of fabric and kind of inspecting it, seeing whether you want to keep it. And I ended up with this massive pile of fabric that I was keeping, but then had to put back. And yeah, that's taken a while longer than I thought it would. So I have been basically just trying to tidy up, and it's become a mammoth job, unfortunately. So the plans for the next week are to basically finish tidying the room. I have got a video I need to make because I'm taking part in the Frugal Frocks challenge. So I need to make a video about my choices and my options. That video will be going up on the 26th of March, as that's my allocated day. I need to sew that garment as well, because the garments, all the reveals for Frugal Frocks is happening on the 31st of March. So I need to do that. And I'd also like to make the videos for crochet. So I have a whole bunch of friends of mine who live locally to me, but of course because of COVID we can't meet up, and they've been asking me to teach them how to crochet. So I want to make and post the videos for the crochet stitches, and what I was thinking was I would make a whole bunch of those videos and then post them one after the other, so that if a person is following them and wants to start, they can kind of get caught up quite quickly, not having to wait like 4 weeks for me to post 4 videos. So I think that's what I'm going to do. In terms of life, there's not a lot going on at the moment. I mean, we've got some brilliant weather the last couple of days, so I'm really happy for that. I've been able to sit out in the garden a bit, which is, yay, spring is coming. In Scotland we really look forward to the spring arriving, because the winter can be a bit grim. The kids are sort of back to school. The kids are part-time back to school here in Scotland. So my eldest daughter is she's in an exam year, so they have got them coming in twice, 2 days every 2 weeks, to do all the practical stuff, so she's been going for that. And my youngest one, she's just in the junior years at high school, so she is going in for a half day every week. So, you know, it's not back to normal yet, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. I just hope it's not an oncoming train, but fingers crossed, you know. Hubby is still working from the dining room, which he is not enjoying. It's been over a year now that he's been working there. I think the poor man is ready to have some adult interaction, you know, that doesn't involve just us as a family. But yeah, we are getting there, I think. Yeah, that's about it. So next week I'm hoping to post the crochet videos, fingers crossed, and I'm hoping to have some sewing done, actually, or at least, yeah, no, the sewing's got to be done actually, because the 31st is not that far away, so I've got to basically get cracking. Anyway, right, I'm rambling now. Thank you very much for dropping by, and I will see you next week. Bye!